The medical bay of the Starforge station hummed with desperate activity as alien physicians worked frantically around the quarantine pod. Inside the transparent containment field, Zoe Martinez writhed in agony, her human physiology fighting a losing battle against the Catherian shadow venom coursing through her veins. "The toxin has reached her neural pathways," announced Dr. Velix, the station's chief medical officer. His 6 insectoid arms moved with surgical precision over holographic displays, but his mandibles clicked with frustration. "At this rate, complete neural shutdown will occur within 2 hours." David Chen pressed his palms against the observation window, watching his research partner and closest friend suffer. They had been exploring the abandoned Catherian ruins on Nexus 7 when Zoe triggered an ancient defense mechanism. A microscopic dart that delivered venom evolved to kill any carbon-based life form that dared trespass in the dead civilization's sacred sites. "There has to be something," David said, his voice strained. "What about synthetic antibodies? Neural blockers?" The Altarian physician, Dr. Senna, shook her elongated head sadly. "We've tried everything in our pharmacological database. The venom is unlike anything we've encountered. It targets the synaptic gaps directly, creating cascading failures throughout the nervous system. No known antidote exists." David studied the readings streaming across multiple screens. The venom's molecular structure was displayed in 3-dimensional detail, a twisted helix of organic compounds that seemed almost alive in its malicious complexity. His mind raced through every xenobiology text he'd ever studied, every research paper on interspecies medicine. "Wait," he said suddenly, causing all 6 medical staff to turn toward him. "You said it targets synaptic gaps. What if we don't try to neutralize the venom directly?" Dr. Velix's compound eyes focused on David with interest. "Explain your hypothesis, human." "The venom spreads through neural pathways, right? Following the paths of least resistance. But what if we create a more attractive pathway? Something that draws the venom away from critical brain functions?" Dr. Senna's elegant features creased with confusion. "Such a procedure would require creating artificial neural pathways throughout the body. The biological complexity alone is impossible for most species," David interrupted, his excitement growing. "But not for humans. Our neural plasticity is off the charts compared to other sapient races. Our brains constantly rewire themselves, create new pathways, adapt to trauma." The alien doctors exchanged uncertain glances. Dr. Velix spoke carefully. "You're suggesting we deliberately damage your neural system to create a decoy pathway for the venom? Not damage, guide. Look." David pulled up a human neurological chart. "Humans have redundant neural networks that most species don't possess. I can consciously direct my nervous system to create temporary pathways, essentially becoming a living filter for Zoe's bloodstream." "That's theoretical suicide," Dr. Senna protested. "Even if the procedure worked, the venom would kill you instead." David was already moving toward the preparation chamber. "Not if we time it right. Human metabolism processes toxins differently than other species. What's lethal to Zoe over 2 hours might take 4 or 5 hours to kill me. That gives you time to synthesize an antidote using my blood as a template." Dr. Velix clicked his mandibles rapidly, a sign of deep thought among his kind. "The concept has merit, but the risks are acceptable," David said firmly. "Zoe's dying right now. This is her only chance." Within minutes, David was connected to the most complex medical apparatus the station possessed. Biotubes ran between his body and Zoe's quarantine pod, creating a closed circulatory loop. Monitoring equipment tracked every neural impulse, every chemical change in both human subjects. "Initiating transfer," Dr. Velix announced. David felt the venom hit his system like liquid fire. Every nerve ending screamed in protest as the alien toxin found his neural pathways. But instead of fighting it, David did something no other species could. He embraced it, using his consciousness to guide the venom along predetermined routes through his peripheral nervous system, away from his brainstem and critical organs. "Remarkable," breathed Dr. Senna, watching the displays. "He's actually directing the toxin's movement through pure mental discipline." The process was excruciating. David felt as if his entire body was being rewired while he remained conscious. But slowly, steadily, the venom concentration in Zoe's system began to drop as his own climbed. "Neural activity in the human female is stabilizing," reported Dr. Velix, beginning antidote synthesis using the male's blood samples. Time became a blur of pain and Determination for David. He watched Zoe's vital signs improve while his own deteriorated, but he held on, using every meditation technique he'd ever learned to maintain control over his body's response to the toxin. Antidote ready, Dr. Senna announced after what felt like hours. Administering now. The counteragent flowed through both their systems simultaneously. David felt the fire in his nerves begin to cool as his enhanced immune system, now primed with the correct antibodies, began neutralizing the venom. When David finally opened his eyes, he found himself in a recovery bed next to Zoe, who was sitting up and looking remarkably healthy despite her ordeal. "You absolute madman," she said, squeezing his hand. "Only a human would think of using their own body as a biological filter." Dr. Velix approached their beds, his usually stoic demeanor showing genuine respect. "In my 40 years of xenomedicine, I have never witnessed such an act of calculated heroism. The human capacity for adaptive sacrifice continues to astound us." David managed a weak smile. "That's what makes us human, Doc. We're too stubborn to let our friends die, and too crazy to accept that something's impossible." As news of the incident spread throughout the galactic medical community, it added another entry to the growing catalog of human exceptionalism. The Chen Protocol became standard emergency procedure for venom exposure, though it remained a technique only humans could perform. But for David and Zoe, returning to their archaeological work among the stars, it was simply another day of proving that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their weapons. It was their refusal to abandon each other, no matter the cost.